Hi there, this is Professor Eckhouse, and I am going to talk today about the distributive property. So let's start by just simplifying expressions using the distributive property, but first we need to talk about what it is. If we have A times B plus C, that means that A gets multiplied times B to give AB, and then A gets multiplied times C to get AC, and since there's an addition in between, it means the addition stays. So that means A is multiplied times B plus A is multiplied times C. Okay, so let's try some problems. Here's an example right here. So 3 times x is 3x plus, we have a plus sign here, then we have 3 times 2 is 3 times 2 like that. Right, so then 3 times x, we just write 3x, and that's why I wrote it that way. I didn't put the times sign, but you can if you want. But the final simplified version is just 3x. Plus 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so 3 times x plus 2 is 3x plus 6. All right, so try that with all of these. Pause the video and see how you do. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to do a few by drawing arrows, and then I'll stop doing that. So 5 times x, 5 times x, and then there's a plus sign, the plus sign, and then there's a 5 times 4, 5 times 4. And that's going to give us 5x plus 20. I would not skip the middle step when there's subtraction. So I'll show you what I mean. 4 times x, that's 4 times x, minus, okay, so we're going to have a minus because the minus is here. And then we're going to have 4 times 2, and that is going to give us 4x minus 8. Now another way to think about it is to have 4 times x plus 4, because the 4 is positive, times a negative 2. Notice you would still get 4x minus 8. It doesn't matter which way you do it, as long as you do it properly. All right, so the next few, let's try these. We get 18x plus 6. The next one, 2 times 8 is 16m, plus 2 times 3 is 6. And the last one, 7 times 2p is 14p, minus 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, so let's move on to just different forms of the distributive property. So we just did the first form, and we also had some practice with this one here. You may see also that the A is second, right? So we may have b plus c with the a on the outside on the right side, and that's fine. You just multiply it. So you just take the b times the a and then the c times the a. All right. So using distributive property with fractions and decimals. So let's try this. I'll work one with you. So we've got 2/3 times x. So 2/3 times x. And it's just because it's a fraction. You don't do it any differently, so don't think anything's different. It's the same method. And then we have the plus, and we've got the 2/3 times the 6. All right, so remember, I'm going to erase the 6, and I'm going to put 6 over 1. 6 over 1. Remember, we can reduce this. So we get 2/3 of 6, so you can do that on your calculator, or you can say there's 6 and 3 here. How many 3's are in 6? We've got 2. How many 3's are in 3? 1. So we get 4. 2/3 of 6 is 4. Or you can do it by canceling, or you can just do it on your calculator. So we get 2/3 x plus 4. Now 2/3 x can also be written as 2x over 3, because the x has an over 1, right? And they're multiplied together. So the x can be up on the top with the 2 plus 4. So if that confuses you, stop, maybe listen again, and think about that. All right, so now that I've done the first one, why don't you try the next one? All right, so we've got 6 times 5, 6x. So I'm going to put 6 over 1. Plus, since I'm dealing with fractions, I'm going to do 6 over 1 every time. 6 over 1 times 1/3. All right, so hopefully you see in the first one that the 6's actually cancel out. And in the second one, I've got 6 and 3. They both have a 3 in them. So how many 3's are in 6? 2. How many 3's are in 3? 1. In other words, what is 1/3 of 6? 1/3 of 6. That's what we're doing. 1/3 of 6 is 2. All right. So we've got the first one is 5. Don't forget your x. So remember, if x is just all by itself like this, it really just means x over 1. It's on top. All right, plus 2. All right, so distributing a negative is our next chore here. So I will show you the first one. So we've got a negative 3 times 2y. So let's write this all out. Negative 3 times 2y plus, now we're going to have a negative 3 times positive 3. Negative 3 times 3. Okay, so be careful. Negative 3 times 2y is negative 6y. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9, so minus 9. All right, so go ahead and try the next 4 and see what you can do with them. All right, so I'm going to use colors a couple more times. So I've got negative 9 times 3. And then I've got, now this one's a little tricky, I've got negative 9 times negative 2a. So negative 9 times a minus 2a. So hopefully you can see what's going to happen with those negatives. And we get negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. Negative 9 times negative 2a is plus 18a. All right, so next I'm going to do negative 2 times 4x. And then we're going to do negative 2 times minus 7. So minus 2 times minus 7 is going to give us negative 8x. Negative 2 times negative 7 is plus 14. All right, the next one, we've got a negative times x, so negative x, and then we've got negative times 2, so negative times 2. You could also think of it as a negative 1. So you could say negative 1, so make this negative right here a negative 1, if that helps you to see what's going on. All right, so I would rewrite this without the parenthesis. I would just say negative x minus 2. So negative of x plus 2 is negative x minus 2. All right, so the next one, same thing. We're going to take the negative and put it on the m, so negative m, and negative of negative 3. Negative of negative 3. So negative times negative 3 is going to be minus, and you can think of it as a minus 1 times a negative 3. Or just a minus times a minus 3. All right, so we get negative m plus 3. All right, lots of little places to make mistakes, so be careful. All right, next one. Now we're going to simplify with a little more stuff going on here. A little more stuff. So let's try the first one together. So I've got a 10 and it's all by itself, so 10. All right, so now I'm going to take minus 3 times x, so minus 3 times x, and then I'm going to take the minus 3 times 2, minus 3 times 2. So let's simplify this. I've got 10 minus 3x minus 6. Now we're going to use, look for similar terms. Okay, so this is a 10 and this is a minus 6. But this is a 3x. We cannot combine those because they are not like terms. Okay, so you can only combine like terms. So our yellow portion is going to be 10 minus 6. 10 minus 6 and then minus the 3x. So I just moved the yellow portion together using our properties from last time. And I get 10 minus 6 is 4 minus 3x. Give myself a little bit more space here. So, all right, so next one. So this next one is 4 minus 2c. So I just took minus 2c. And then I'm going to say minus and 2 times 3. Minus 2 times 3. So I get 4 minus 2c minus 6. All right, so where's my like terms? I've got 4 and minus 6, and then I've got minus 2c. All right, so let's rewrite this as, come over here, 4 minus 6 minus 2c. And all I did was I rearranged to put the like terms together and then the unlike term on its own. All right, so I end up with 4 minus 6 is negative 2 minus 2c. Okay, final answer. All right, again, I'm going to give myself a little more space here, see if it'll let me do that. And I'm going to do that for here. So hopefully, if you would like, you can pause the video after I'm done messing with all this and see if you can try solving these. Okay, so let's try looking at this next problem here. 5m minus 2 times m plus 8. All right, so the 5m is out there all by itself. It's not multiplied by anything, so I'm just going to rewrite it. Now I've got minus 2 times m, that's minus 2m. And then I've got minus 2 times 8, that's minus 16. 2 times 8 is 16. All right, so now my like terms are going to be these two here, 5m minus 2m. And my constant is by itself. All right, so 5m minus 2m is minus 3m minus 16. So that's my final answer. All right, next one. We're going to have 2 times x and then 2 times minus 5. All right, so I get 2 times x and then 2 times minus 5. Now you could have said 2 times x minus 2 times 5. Either way you want to do it is fine, but just keep track of it. There's only one negative there. So put it on either one, whichever way you think of it is fine. All right, and then we've got minus x minus 4. Minus x minus 4. All right, so let's simplify this. And I've got 2x minus 10 minus x minus 4. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we've got 2x minus x, and then we've got minus 10 minus 4. All right, so here we go. 2x minus x, that's the green portion, minus 10 minus 4. All right, so the 2x minus x and then minus 10 minus 4 go together because they're like terms. So 2x minus x is just x, because remember there's just a 1 right there. And then minus 10 minus 4 is minus 14. All right, last one. So first we're going to take the 4 times the x, and then plus the 4 times the 9 is 36. And then we're going to distribute this minus, and I'm going to have minus x minus 5. All right, so let's go look for like terms. 4x minus x, and then 36 minus 5. Let's write that down. 4x minus x, and you don't have to do this step once you get good at this, but until you get good at it, I really recommend not skipping it. So I've got the 4x minus x, and I've got the 36 minus 5. All right, so 4x minus x, remember that's a 1x, that gives us 3x, plus 36 minus 5 is 31. So let me double check. I've got 4x plus 36 minus x minus 5. 4x minus x and 36 minus 5. Okay, and I think that's our final answer. So that's it for that one. All right, so evaluate expressions using the distributive property. All right, there's a couple different ways to do this. You can go ahead and put the 6 in first, which I think is easier because you don't actually have to use the distributive property if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and use order of operation if you would like. But since we're doing the distributive property, I'm going to show you how to do it. So I have 8 times 7m plus 4. So I'm going to distribute and get 56m plus, and I just realized I did not make a key for this, so I'm just doing it as I go, plus 8 times 4 is 32. So I'm going to use my calculator. All right, so 56 times, now the m is what I have to put in right here. That's my 6. So now I would plug in 56 times the 6 that I had right here, times 6, plus 32. So I'm just going to take my calculator and I'm going to do 56 times 6 plus 32. And it does order of operation for me if you have a scientific calculator, and you get 368. Or you can take it step by step. 56 times 6 is 336, plus 32 gives you 368. All right, so that's evaluating. So why don't you try the next 2 problems? 3 problems. Try the next 3 problems. All right, so we've got 2 times 8b minus 3 is going to give us 16b minus 6. 16b minus 6. Okay, so my b is 5, right? So I'm going to say 16 times 5 minus 6. That's where my 5 goes, right there. So I've got 16 times 5 is 80, minus 6. Minus 6 is 74. So that's 80 minus 6. That's what I did. Okay, you want to try the next one if you haven't already. All right, so we get negative 2. I'm just going to write it just negative 2 times 6p plus 7. And that's going to give me negative 12p minus 14. Negative 12p, so I multiplied those two, negative 12p, and then I multiplied those two, minus 14. All right, so I've got negative 12 times, now I've got to use this to put in for the p, right? So I'm going to put negative 5 right in there, minus 14. So negative 12 times negative 5 is just 12 times 5 because the negatives are going to cancel out. And I get 60, so 60 minus 14. And again, you can do that all in your calculator without writing anything down. Should give you 46. I've been forgetting to put a box around the answer. It's easier to see it. All right, and I believe this is our last one. Yep. Negative n plus 5 when n is 32. So negative n minus 5 when n is 32. Or you can just put the n in right there and say negative 32 plus 5 is negative 37, so we just get negative 37. If you did negative n minus 5, you would say negative and put the n in 32 minus 5. Negative 32 minus 5 is negative 37. Whichever way you want to do it, I honestly on that one think it's easier to plug in first. Okay, that is it. Thanks for watching.